This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Friday, December 22nd of 2023. This is the last weekend before Christmas. Also, the last day of Ag Matters PM this year. We will be taking the next week off until the new year. It's been great to have another successful year of this program, and we look forward to taking you guys with us into the new year. In today's episode, I talk with Dr. Tim Parks. He is a cattle technical services veterinarian with Merck Animal Health. We also have a check of that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, we're talking with Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net. Curt, what have we seen going on in the grain markets today, this day before the Christmas holiday?
Well, yeah, we've got a little green on the screen. I had Thanksgiving, and Bears looks like they've had Christmas here also. So 3-day weekend, trade will resume on Tuesday morning at 8:30. This kind of a little bit of a short covering, stable trade. We're looking at the weather in the southern hemisphere, still going to be a factor in through here. Scattered showers, 1-2 inches. Then we're also seeing 1 to 2 tenths here and there. We'll see what type of coverage. Overall, the trade continues to downgrade that Brazilian bean crop. A lot of them are 153, 155 on the Brazilian crop, million metric tons. USDA is at 161. But we're going to see Argentina come through and pick up the slack there and make up the difference. Still early in the growing season, a long ways to go. Big news here as we go home for the weekend is transportation, logistics. When you think we've seen one, we see another one, but trains trying to cross into Mexico. 2 crossings closed due to immigration issues. Ideas are we can have those open up here as we move into January, hopefully. We'll see. Seems to me we should be able to send those babies south because the problem's coming back north. So hopefully they'll get that work out. But it's been one thing after another. Started the Black Sea logistics, then the Mississippi River drying up, then the Red Sea, and the Panama Canal is drying up. So it's one thing after another, not only here in the U.S., but just around the world on logistics and transportation. Ocean freight rates were fairly cheap. I think China got in on a lot of that there at those lower levels, but now ocean freight rates are pretty high here, premium for what's going on around the world for the most part. The other part is we've seen ethanol margins deteriorate. Ethanol was $2.60 there last summer. We're down to $1.60 here as we go into the end of the year. And some of these plants aren't really shutting down, but they're slowing down. And so there's a little concern that the ethanol part of the equation here could be kind of soft here for a little bit. Other fundamental thing, we'll have the cattle and feed report here this afternoon. We'll touch that on in a second, but make sure we have some livestock numbers to feed. And I have a few more cattle and a few less hogs, so we'll see what those reports show. Weekly scale, we saw the March corn down 10 cents on the week. Just kind of that bottom end of that channel. Everybody's been publicizing their channel there. Brian, our technical analyst, he's been pointing that out for quite some time. The thing is, if we follow the 2013 into 2014, if we still follow that pattern, we might not be able to reverse this thing out of the hole until the January crop report. So about another week or two, hopefully get the bearishness out of the way. Beans down 16 cents for the week, kind of down to this lower end of their range. Hopefully get a double bottom type of formation and get some giddy up here. Wheat futures, Chicago down 13. Got kind of a bullish pennant or bullish flag here. So the wheat, Chicago wheat's going to hopefully break out here, continue the uptrend, or see some type of correction here next week. So it's getting a real tight formation there.
And then with those livestock markets, like you mentioned, this is a pretty rare triple report day. So what do we have going on in those marketplaces, and what can we see from those reports?
Yeah, I hope it's not like the stock market triple witching hour, or where they used to call it when everything came together all at once. But yes, cattle and feed, cold storage, and quarterly hog and pig report. On the cattle and feed report, they're looking anywhere from 101.8 to 102.7. Cattle and feed averaged about 102.2. Placement number, average trade guess on the placements is coming in about 96.2. Marketing's about 93.3. That'll be out 2 o'clock here this afternoon, Central Time after the recording here. We'll see what type of effect that has 8:30 on Tuesday morning. Quarterly hog and pig report. Hog and pig report, we're looking at all hogs 99.5%. Kept for breeding, 98.8%. Kept for marketing, 99.5%. Pig crop, we're actually down in this 99 to 98% there. So we'll see if that kind of helps the cause here and generate maybe a little bit more of a positive mode here in the pork complex with a few less numbers. On the charts, the cattle, the February fats are stuck in this 168 to 171 area. The February cattle finished down about 87 cents for the week, but looking a lot better here than we have recently. Hopefully we've got a lot of this outside news out of the way here and can focus on fundamentals and technicals. Cattle in the hogs, the February hogs down 55. On the hog chart, when you look at the high-low close over a period of time, we've got kind of a double bottom formation. In fact, we got kind of a bullish flag formation. So if we can get a bullish hog and pig report here this afternoon and kind of use that as a catalyst to break out of this flag formation, maybe we could have a little giddy up and go here in the meats. But probably the most important thing is enjoy a nice Christmas ham this weekend.
Lots of great information today, Curt. For those of our listeners and our viewers who'd like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
You can go to agmarket.net, click on Intel, but go to agmarket.net. We're having a holiday special. We're having our meeting again here in February down in Nashville. We're having some high-profile speakers, not only the Ag Market team, but Dan Bossie, David Hightower, Joe Vakovic, Brian Burke, the president of JSA, Randy Dow. We've got a super lineup there, and some of these other organizations are a little jealous of what we're offering here in February. So take a peek at that.
Great to hear as always, Curt, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon. And enjoy your holiday season. Have a happy holiday and a happy New Year as well.
You bet. You be safe and enjoy yourself and behave. Take care.
That again was Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net. Let's take a look at the markets through the market window at iowaagnet.com. At the close, March corn up 1/2 cent at $4.73 even. January soybeans up 2.5 at $12.99 3/4. January soybean meal up $4.20 at $3.99.60. Soybean oil down 51 cents at $48.53. Chicago wheat up 3 3/4 at $6.16 1/4. Kansas City hard red wheat down 3 3/4 at $6.23 even. Minneapolis spring wheat went unchanged at $7.14 1/4. March oats down 4 even at $3.59 1/2. On the Merck, February live cattle down 15 cents at $168.52. January feeders up 105 at $222.75. February lean hogs up 70 cents at $71.35. Pork cutout went unchanged at $81.72. And January class 3 milk went down 2 cents at $15.42. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Dr. Tim Parks of Merck Animal Health. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. I had the chance to catch up with Dr. Tim Parks. He's a cattle technical services veterinarian with Merck Animal Health. He had an update on some of the newest cattle vaccine technology that they're offering, as well as just a current, kind of industry standing on cattle vaccination and what you should be doing at this time of year. We are here at the National Association of Farm Broadcasters Convention in Kansas City, talking with Tim Parks of Merck Animal Health. He is the Cattle Technical Service Manager. First off, Tim, you guys have Bovilis Nasalgen here. Tell us a little bit about Nasalgen.
Bovilis Nasalgen 3 is an intranasal vaccine that we brought to market about 2 years ago. We have Nasalgen 3 as well as Nasalgen 3 PMH. So they're an intranasal vaccine that contains the most common antigens that we see associated with bovine respiratory disease in cattle.
Yeah, and you know, we've talked a lot before about how much of a benefit there is to stacking these traits on top of each other and being able to target those all at once. Just kind of walk through, you know, how you were able to kind of select the specific things that you want to go after and why it was important to get it into one vaccine.
Well, as we look at bovine respiratory disease, it's a complex, and we pretty well understand the bugs that cause disease, the viruses as well as the bacteria. So for a lot of years we've been targeting the viruses, IBR, BVD, BRSV, PI3, all those viruses, and then with a focus on Mannheimia and Pastorella. When we Bovilis Nasalgen 3 PMH, that puts IBR, BRSV, and PI3 as well as the Mannheimia and Pastorella, and it puts it in the nasal cavity, which is a little bit different than if we inject it, because the nasal cavity is actually where about 90% of the pathogens that cause disease in cattle come in. So if we can create an immune response locally right there at the level of entry, as well as create a systemic response, we're really setting that calf up to have pretty good protection as we go through, and that's ultimately the goal of what we're trying to accomplish with vaccination. Prepare that animal for exposure, but also prepare that animal for moves through production cycles.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, we talk a lot about with all sorts of ag products, multiple modes of action, right? Mm-hmm. But this is also multiple modes of immune response, and having that to where they're prepared to have that kind of prevention response as well as the response in the event that they do have an infection later on, that they're able to handle that and really minimize the amount of stress that ends up on that cow, right?
Yeah, exactly. And one of the goals with Bovilis Nasalgen 3, by addressing that young calf, what our goal really is let's create immunologic memory, and that's what helps set it up for later on. But let's also create some protection right up front. So the use of these intranasal vaccines, especially at this branding age or turnout age calf, you know, that calf that's generally 1 to 4 months of age in that time frame, Bovilis Nasalgen 3s fit really nicely in there. And you said it very well. We need to prevent disease, but we also just need to prepare that animal. We know that the production cycles that we put them through, at some point in time, they're going to get exposed. They have the chance to become sick as we start to move them through these production cycles. And ultimately, the goal of vaccination is let's reduce the severity of the disease, but at the same time, let's make it to where these animals have the best chance to have a successful treatment when we do have to apply an antibiotic therapy in the case of bovine respiratory disease.
So let's talk as well just about the administration method of this vaccine. You know, Nasalgen, obviously intranasal, like you said. You know, how does this work out, and why this method for this type of vaccine?
Well, as we look at intranasal vaccines, one of the big drivers behind that is it presents, when we put it in the nasal cavity, there's cells that are just waiting to grab it, and it presents it to the immune system a little bit differently than when we inject. This is a benefit we see, especially in these younger calves, when we have maternal antibodies on board, if we've done a good job with herd health in our cow program. But it is intranasal, and the key is we got to get it in the nose. So we've had different administration techniques. We've got cannulas that have some length to them that have been around for a long time, but we're actually introducing a new one in next year. It's made by Allflex, and it's called CleanVax. So it's a little bit shorter cannula, but it also has a plastic shield, so we can change it between calves, we can change it between groups of calves. I really recommend that you visit with your veterinarian to see what their recommendations are in your particular situation. How often do we need to change it? But the ultimate goal is, any vaccine, we got to make sure we do it appropriately. And intranasal, we got to get in the nose. So it creates a nice little mist that comes out, and just a shorter cannula. And so we have addressed some of the concerns that have been brought to our attention with some of the older cannulas and some of these young calves.
Right, because we all know, anybody who's been out to vaccinate calves before is you get them all tied up and then you're putting the vaccine in and they're huffing around and they're getting a little worked up and everything. So to have that, especially that shield, to kind of make sure it stays in there, and as well make that process easier, reduce the stress on the animal and the handler, as just obviously all comes together very nicely, right?
Yeah, anything that we can do to reduce stress on that animal is key to the success of our vaccines. So a lot of these vaccines, especially these intranasals, we always talk about when do we vaccinate calves to really set them up for the best immune responses. And anything that we can do at a time of low stress, which tends to be while that animal's on the cow. Bovine respiratory disease, it's a major problem in the post-weaning stages. So if we can prepare them in the pre-weaning stage, there's something about being able to work that calf and put it back out on mom that reduces that stress level. Mom and milk just really seems to keep the stress level down, and we start to see these vaccines. We just get a much better response to them and really set these calves up to where when we start putting them through the production cycles and we know that they're going to come in contact with stress and with pathogen challenges, they're ready to have the best chance of success possible.
All right, Tim, lots of great information today. Is there anything else about the nasal gin vaccine or the new shield that our listeners and viewers should know about today?
I think the big thing I would say is we've come out of a couple years of drought in multiple areas, and I think it's really key that we focus on herd health programs, especially as we start in these young calves. We've seen a lot of calves that normally would get weaned that were sold directly off the cow. So not knowing exactly what our marketing schemes may be, work with your veterinarian to make sure that we're setting these calves up early in their life to where even if we do have to market them in a little bit different time frame, we've at least set them up to where we can prepare that immune system against the stresses that we know they're going to run into.
Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Thank you very much.
That again was Dr. Tim Parks of Merck Animal Health. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, it's not going to be a white Christmas this year, but could you consider it a silver Christmas if there's fog on the ground? That could be the case, as we are seeing some foggy conditions kind of continuing into this weekend. But if it's not going to be foggy, it's going to be quite a bit rainy. So, of course, we won't complain about that moisture, but, the kids will probably still be wishing that they had that white Christmas and a bit of snow to play with. So let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, today we have rain and patchy fog throughout the state, those highs ranging from the mid-40s to mid-50s. Tonight, fog continues to develop across the state, lows overnight ranging from the mid-30s to mid-40s. And tomorrow, that patchy fog will give way to partly sunny skies, highs ranging from about 50 to the upper 50s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will see dense fog and then partly sunny skies with a high of 50. Shenandoah, foggy conditions giving way to partly sunny skies with a high of 57. Des Moines will see that fog as well, and in fact, the whole state will be seeing that fog, then giving way to partly sunny skies, high of 55. Waterloo, after that fog, some partly sunny skies again at high of 54. Same in Albia with a high of 56, and the same once again in Clinton, this time with a high of 53. For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free twice daily market podcasts on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. And of course, we have our new podcast product, Pods of Potential, that can be found under our podcast tab as well. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.